Welcome on back to Busy Lady Life channel. Today's recipe is a low-carb stuffing. I found this keto Hawaiian bread, and as soon as I seen it, I thought it would be great to make some stuffing with it. I've been missing stuffing in the last couple years since I've been doing kind of the off and on low-carb diet, and this is a great addition, and it just kind of goes over the nutrient value. So it's like 35 calories per piece. High protein too. So I took out about 12 pieces and let them go stale for a day. And this is what it turned out after a day. They got pretty. They're still slightly soft, but good enough in here. It'll be fine. If you wanted to go 2 days, that'd be fine too. So I have 5 links of sausage. I have some celery, 1 onion, 1 apple. You could use a Granny Smith if you chose. I had these on hand. Some chicken stock, and then some herbs and spices. Now you're going to see on my herbs and spices, I have a little bit of a collection, so I will use more. That is about 6 tablespoons of butter. I have this harvest blend, which is a bunch of dehydrated vegetables. You could use this too. I mean, really, the onion, the celery, you could cut up some carrots. This is just an addition that I had and I wanted to try. Parsley and sage, those are pretty much your musts. And this is just another one with some dehydrated cranberries. If you wanted to put some dried cranberries in here, you could, to give it some more flavor. This is just kind of the things I wanted to try on hand. I was really just excited to be able to do a keto stuffing. I've never really been able to do that. Here's my little bit of an addiction that I have. I don't know if anybody else is like me. I have lots of spices and rubs. It's a little bit of addiction. I've got so many, I don't even have room for them. I wish I had some idea of how to make a spice area. So you're gonna first brown your sausage. I just removed the casings off of those links and started browning them. Now I'm gonna separate them because I'm going to add into this the onion and then the celery. And I even include the leaves on my stalks for my celery. I think it gives a nice additional flavor to the stuffing. So I'm going to let these kind of sweat for a little bit. So I'll cover them and put them on a medium heat. And I'll get back over to getting the other things prepared. So the apples that I used 1 apple. You could use more depending on how much dressing or stuffing, I don't know what everybody calls it, somebody would use. And I just cut it up bite-sized pieces. Same thing with the pieces of stale bread. Then cube them really nice, kind of threw them in a bowl and set them aside. Easy peasy. Now I do a lazy keto or a lazy low carb, so I really don't pay attention. I really just kind of do things intuitively. It's got low carb, it's got high protein, it's something that I want to add that I've lost for a while. So here they've been sweating for a while, they've kind of reduced, so now I'm going to stir those in together and let all those flavors marry together. And then I'm going to let them cook a little longer. And then I'm going to melt my 6 tablespoons of butter. Here I did 4 at first. I added the other 2 in. So just cut to the chase, depending on how much you use. You're probably better off with just 6 tablespoons. I added in a full mason jar of chicken stock. So probably about 2.5 cups. I like to add a little bit more because sometimes my homemade stock is not so flavorful, so I'll add a little more vegeta, which is like a vegetable seasoning. So it's equivalent to like a bouillon, a chicken bouillon or a vegetable bouillon. So here's all my herbs that I'm going to add. This is the pink peppercorns, which they've got a nice little aroma to them. This is a harvest blend, which is the dehydrated vegetables. This one has basically, like I said, it's the dehydrated cranberries and some sage. The sausage and celery and the onions are all ready to go. So I'm going to put those in a bowl and get ready to mix everything together. So I want a big mixing dish before I put it into my baking dish. So I'm going to start with all of those dry breadcrumbs. And then I'm going to add in the sausage, and I'm going to stir this and try to combine this as much as I can to kind of see where the moisture level is. That's the biggest thing in my opinion for me, is the moisture level for my stuffing. Everybody likes their stuffing differently. Some people like it very dry. Some people like it a little moist. Here I'm adding in all those herbs, and I'm going to add in the apples. Now if you had the dried cranberries, you could add that, and the chicken stock. Now I started out slow with the chicken stock, so I would also do the same thing. Try your 1 cup, stir it in to see if it's the consistency or the moisture that you want. Because it really matters on how dry your bread is dependent on how much stock you're going to be putting in there. I end up putting the whole full thing in there, stirring it up real good. Getting all of those ingredients combined. Here is the finished product. I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to bring out my baking dish that I'm going to put it in. Now, I just didn't know if this was going to stick. I mean, it does have the pork, so it may not, but I figured let me just spray some avocado oil on there just in case, because I don't really want a big sticky mess in here. And then I just poured everything in, stuck it in the oven for 350. I had it in there for about an hour. Again, it depends on how you like your end product of your stuffing. My family likes it on the moist, but yet at the top a little crispy. So at first, initially I covered it for the first 15 minutes to get it all to cook. Then the last part, I kind of had a little bit of more chicken broth in there, so I wanted it to kind of dry out and air dry in the oven and get a little crispy on the top. So I removed it halfway. It looks delicious. It was a thumbs up for both my husband and my son. Very excited for this recipe that I just tried out. Definitely know I'm going to be making this for Thanksgiving. And now I won't feel so guilty missing out on some stuffing as I'm trying to do the low-carb lifestyle. I really hope you enjoyed this recipe. And if you too have any other addictions for spices like I do, please let me know in the comments. I don't want to feel alone here. Thanks again for stopping by, and have a nice holiday.